welcome to Daron's Kitchen. I am Daron, and today is, I'm not quite sure what today is actually. It's another quarantine day. What I do know, however, is we have to stay busy, and guess what? It's Easter this weekend. So thanks to one of our viewers who suggested, what about doing something a bit more complicated this time around? Just a bit, I'm not going too crazy. That way, you guys can all make a very nice dessert to go with your Easter dinner this weekend. And I thought that's a great idea. So what I have for you today is an overdose of chocolate, because who doesn't like chocolate? So what we're making is a chocolate and hazelnut tart. So it's gonna have 3 parts to it. We're gonna have a chocolate crust filled with a chocolate ganache and topped with a chocolate and hazelnut crumble. So I hope you're ready. I hope you're hungry, because we're gonna eat some good chocolate tart this weekend. Let's get into it. So the first thing we're gonna do today is start with our pie shell. What we're making is a chocolate pâte sucrée, or a sweet dough, that's gonna basically be the carrier of our chocolate ganache.
In a stand mixer, cream your butter and your sugar. Add your egg and mix until well combined. Add your dry ingredients and your 1 tablespoon milk and mix until a dough just begins to form. Turn your dough out on a parchment paper and cut the dough using a scraper or your hands. Bring your dough back together without kneading it and place a second layer of parchment paper on top. Using a rolling pin, roll out your dough into a circle large enough to fit an 8-inch tart mold. Your dough should be about 3 to 5 millimeters thick.
We rolled out our pâte sucrée between 2 pieces of parchment paper. We're gonna let that rest in the fridge for about 15 minutes. And note that as soon as I added the flour, I just waited for the dough to barely come together. There was still a bit of flour around, and stop it there, don't over mix it. And when you take it out, as you saw, make sure you cut the dough or pull it apart a bit, because what this does is it kills the gluten that we've developed in our dough. And that way, once we bake it, it's gonna be much more, it's gonna be flakier, it's gonna be much more softer, it's gonna be crispier, which is what we want. We don't want it to be a dense type of dough, right? So we're gonna let that rest for 15 minutes. And while that's happening, we're gonna start making our crumble.
Cream your butter, sugar, and salt. Add your dry ingredients and mix to get a sandy consistency. Once your crumble is properly combined, place it on a parchment paper lined baking tray and make various sizes of crumble.
What we're looking to get with our crumble is a sandy texture. And once I put it out on my baking sheet, I pinched them together, as you saw. I just made little clumps here and there, because what that's gonna do is it's gonna create different sizes of crumble. And just like our pâte sucrée, we're gonna take our crumble, put it in the fridge for about 15 to 20 minutes, just to let it cool down and relax. While we're waiting for our doughs to calm down and cool in the fridge, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make our chocolate ganache. And we're gonna need some good chocolate for this ganache.
On medium-high heat, bring your cream to a boil. Pour your hot cream over your chocolate and, using a rubber spatula, mix it until it's well combined.
Once our chocolate and our cream is nicely mixed together, we're going to cover it with plastic wrap and we're going to put it in the fridge for 10 to 15 minutes, not more. We don't want it to harden because we want to be able to pour it into our pie shell later on. So only 10 to 15 minutes in the fridge, and then we're going to take it out and keep it at room temperature. Ideally, we want our ganache to be at room temperature when we're going to use it, but it could still be a little warm to the touch. That's fine.
Once your pâte sucrée has sufficiently rested, line your tart mold, cutting off any excess dough.
Line your tart mold with the chocolate pâte sucrée. We're going to make holes in it using a fork. The reason we do this is because once we bake it, it's going to shrink, and we want to create that space so that your dough has space to shrink and not make a bump. We want it to stay straight and not have a little mound and an emptiness on the bottom. Once that's done, we're going to put it back in the fridge for about 20 minutes just to let the dough rest once more.
Once your dough and your crumble have sufficiently rested, place them both together in your oven that has been preheating at 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and bake them for 15 to 20 minutes or until golden brown.
So we took out our tart shell and the crumble from the oven, and we just let it cool down at room temperature. Now that it's cool, see, I can touch it with my hand. We're just gonna remove the shell, and see here, if you did it right, it's gonna be nice and straight on the bottom. And as you saw, my tart shrank, right? Look, I'll put it back in for you. Look how big of a difference there is. It shrank from the original pan. That's normal. This is a very good sign. You want it to shrink. So now we're gonna take this, I'm gonna put it right over here, and we have our ganache that also cooled down. It's at room temperature. It's not colder, it's not hotter, and that's exactly what we want. So what we're gonna do now is, see, it's a bit jiggly in the middle, and we're gonna pour our chocolatey goodness into our shell. Like this. And don't play around with the ganache too much, because the more you mix it, the harder it's gonna get faster. So we're just gonna spread it around like this, as evenly as you can. And here you have your tart already, and we're just gonna finish it off with our crumble. So the crumble is really mainly decorative purpose, but also to add that extra crunch to it. So you can put it all around, you can put it all on top to cover it completely. To finish it off, because it is Easter and we want it to be festive, more or less, I'm just gonna sprinkle powder, some icing sugar over it, like that. And if you have, why not? If you have at home, use mini eggs, put it on top, use it to decorate it. It's always gonna be a good idea. So I let the tart rest for a bit. Just a little tip, don't put it in the fridge because the ganache is gonna harden too much and you're not gonna be able to eat it. So store it at room temperature. I think I forgot to say that. And if you do put it in the fridge, make sure the day you're gonna eat it, take it out of the fridge early in the morning when you get up, just so that it gets to room temperature slowly, and it's gonna be softer for you to eat. And as you can see, while I was waiting for it to hold a bit, I thought it needed more festivity, so we put mini eggs on it because it is for Easter. And now we're gonna get to eat it. Look at that. Do you see that chocolate? Do you see that chocolate? Come on, come on. It's gonna be messy to eat. If you like chocolate, you're gonna like this. That's really, really good. We know what's for Easter dessert. So that's all we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this tart. I'm telling you, make it because it's gonna be really, really, really good. I mean, it's Easter. When else are you gonna eat chocolate? So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I just wanna wish whoever celebrates it a happy Easter, and I hope you enjoy your chocolate tart, and I'll see you next time.